The women's basketball team pursues an NJAC championship.
And the indoor track teams make history.
All Access is next, and it starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of All Access, the show that can impact your day just as much as Ray Rice is still impacting the Ravens' draft decisions. I'm Rachel Williamson.
And I'm Cody Decker. Maybe the Ravens could see if Tim Tebow could play halfback for them. And even though he's really tried out for every other position in the NFL so far his somewhat career.
That's true.
Nonetheless, the women's basketball team went back to work Tuesday night, so let's see how they did. Rachel?
The Rowan women's basketball team earned their spot in the NJAC tournament final with a win over number 3 seed Stockton University in the semis on Tuesday with a score of 70-59. Guard Summer Crilly had a career-high 18 points for the Profs. Forward Katie Matthews contributed with a double-double, 11 points, and 13 rebounds. The Profs struggled in the first half, shooting only 26.1% from the field, but they capitalized in the second, shooting 50%. They were also able to use runs to their advantage, including a 12-2 run in the first quarter and a 9-0 run in the fourth. This is the 22nd win of the season for the Profs, the first time they've been able to reach this mark in 16 seasons. It is also the highest win total for head coach Gabby Lasella. Matthews, guard forward Caitlin Schulstorm, and guard Anissa Sanchez were named to NJAC All-Conference teams on Tuesday. Schulstorm on the first team, Matthews on second, and Sanchez received an honorable mention. The Profs will travel to number 1 seed Montclair State on Friday in a battle for the New Jersey Athletic Conference Championship. The teams have split the season series so far this season in games won by a difference of 1 and 4 points respectively. Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m.
The men's and women's indoor track teams both won conference titles on Monday at the Ocean Breeze Track Center. For the men, it's their second NJAC title in a row. They won by 67.5 points over runner-up TCNJ. Jeffrey Tucker took first place in the high jump with a mark of 6 feet, 11 inches, breaking the meet record by 2.25 inches. He also had a second place finish in the long jump with a mark of 22 feet, 11.75 inches. Dave Benjamin broke a meet record of his own by 0.11 seconds in the 60-meter hurdles with a time of 8.17 seconds. Also emerging victorious was the 4x800 meter relay team of Pat McCurry, Peter Veltri, Nick Noko, and Brandon Eldershaw. For the women, they claimed their 4th straight conference title. They had a total of 198.5 points. All 4 relay teams claimed the top spots in their respective events. Shayla Williams was victorious in the 60-meter dash with a time of 7.63 seconds. She also broke her own meet record in the preliminaries with a time of 7.60 seconds, 0.07 seconds better. Williams also won the 200-meter dash, 400-meter dash, and the high jump. Aspen McMillan took the pole position in the 60-meter hurdles with a time of 9.06 seconds. Jewel Brown had a first-place finish of her own in the triple jump, setting a mark of 37 feet, 5.25 inches. Next up for the indoor track teams will be the Fast Track Last Chance meet on Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Ocean Breeze Track Center.
The women's swimming and diving team competed in the Metropolitan Championships at Rutgers University over the weekend. On day 1, Julia Del Nero had a 6th-place finish in the 500 freestyle with a time of 5 minutes, 16.24 seconds. Also taking 6th place were the 400 medley relay team of Amanda Burke, Olivia Wadowicz, Gabby Gliger, and Julie Sheenan, with a time of 4 minutes, 2.46 seconds, and the 200 freestyle relay team Gliger Sheehan, Miranda Coughlin, and Polina Deneva with a time of 1 minute, 38.52 seconds. Now, that track team was nuts. All I kept hearing you say was broke records, broke records, broke records.
It's amazing because the indoor track team, we've been hearing so many good things about them the whole season, and Shayla Williams is one of the members of the indoor track teams for the women that has just been, impressive, absolutely impressive. She's a face for Rowan Athletics, and she's done an excellent job. We see her name as Rowan Athlete of the Week, just Athlete of the Week in the NJAC, and it's just an impressive performance by her.
She's great.
Now for all the latest in pro sports, we turn it over to Lenny Schnee for this week's Pro Talk.
Thanks, Cody. This week in pro sports, The Golden State Warriors continue to stay atop the headlines this week. The NBA's top team won their 50th game of the season Monday, making them the quickest team ever to reach 50 wins. The Warriors beat the Atlanta Hawks 102-92, led by Steph Curry, who had 36 points in the night, as well as Klay Thompson, who had 27 points of his own. Also in the NBA, Memphis Grizzlies All-Star center Marc Gasol is now out for the remainder of the season. Gasol recently had surgery to repair a fracture in his right foot. He's a centerpiece of a usually competitive Grizzlies team. This season, he had been averaging 16 points per game to go along with 7 rebounds as well as 4 assists per game. In baseball news, Colorado Rockies shortstop Jose Reyes has been placed on indefinite paid leave by Major League Baseball. This is in response due to an alleged domestic dispute between Reyes and his wife in Hawaii. The ruling was announced by Commissioner Rob Manfred. He will also be the one to decide if the league will take disciplinary action once the case is resolved. Reyes is owed $22 million this season and will go on trial April 4th. Over to NASCAR, where one of the season's biggest races took place at Daytona Superspeedway on Sunday. The Daytona 500 ended in unbelievable fashion with Denny Hamlin winning by 1/10 of a second over Martin Truex Jr. This win slots Hamlin in first in the standings. He finished in 9th place last season. And finally, to the world of soccer, where the U.S. women's national team qualified for this summer's Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. The team, led by veteran Abby Wambach and young stars Alex Morgan and Hope Solo, won the World Cup this past summer in Canada. The qualifying game was a 2-0 victory over Canada, in which Hope Solo earned her 94th career shutout. The Olympic Games will begin August 3rd this summer. That's all I have for you on this week's Pro Talk. Later, Cody and Rachel will have updates on the men's swim team, but after the break, Vina Marie Pizzo sits down with Coach Caulfield of the men's ice hockey team for this week's edition of Prof Spotlight. So stay tuned for more All Access.
Hey everyone, it's V here with Rowan's All Access, and with me I have Coach Caulfield from Rowan's Ice Hockey. Now, have a couple of questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So first, I would like to know, how important was your win against UDEL this past Friday? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, the UDEL win was big for us, not only for confidence issues, but for rankings as well. It actually bumped us up in the regional rankings from 8th spot to 7th spot, actually flip-flopping with them, which gives us a little bit more favorable seeding in the regional playoffs.
Okay. All right, good to know. Now, you played 3 less regular games this season. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
It wasn't.
Okay. 3 less regular games from last year. Do you feel your team was affected by that?
No. Last year, the difference, I guess, would be the 3 games that we played out in Ohio last year. So we were on the bus somewhere around 13 hours, both directions. So I think in the long run, probably not. The amount of games that we played this year against better quality teams, teams like Penn State, UMBC, I think those games get us better prepared than games against lesser talented teams. So I wouldn't think that the number of games made a difference.
So you think it actually was better?
Well, I'm hoping that in the long run it'll turn out we're not as fatigued come playoff time. Last year we sort of ran out of gas at the very wrong time against Toledo in the regional playoffs, and we got knocked out in the second day. So hopefully the lesser game schedule will give us a better leg in this one.
Right, that's what I'm kind of getting from you. There were 3 less games, and it sounds like those 3 games from last season kind of put a little bit too much on you guys.
I'm going to blame it on that for sure.
Yeah,
let's
do that.
Clearly not coaching. It was clearly schedule wasn't favorable
Definitely
for
wasn't
us.
the coach's fault. It was definitely those 3
like
extra
UV.
games. All right, I like you too. All right, so you had 2 very heartbreaking losses. I'm very sorry for your loss. Those were both to Penn State. They were in the regular season. Now, hypothetically speaking, if you meet them again in the divisional final, what do you feel will be that extra edge to gain your victory over them?
Yeah, we should score more in regulation, and we won't have to go overtime. It's a good question. These guys have sort of been our white whale. We struggle with them. In my entire time here, we've only beaten them 1 time, and I think we've got 3 or 4 losses to them in overtime. We always seem to come close, and for whatever reason, we're just not able to get over that hump. So maybe tighten down a little bit better in our defensive zone and not have to worry about the clock management and playing from behind. Maybe trying to secure a lead earlier and then just continue with the lead.
Keep it going.
Really? You want me more?
That's what
Oh,
you want to do, right?
I thought you wanted me to talk more.
No, that
Yeah,
was funny.
if we can get it on the board early, it's a total different team. If we're playing with a lead, we're much more relaxed. We play with a lot more confidence than if we're playing from the hole and trying to dig our way out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Doc and Alec were both saying. Confidence is the key.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Okay, never. Wait, sometimes it can, though.
Eh,
But in this case, no?
no, I don't see it happen.
Okay. All right. The big goal is to win nationals, obviously. But how are you going to be able to compete against those top teams in the region in order to get there? Let's hear it.
Well, for us, everything comes out of our team speed. I think we.
Your team speed.
Team
Explain
speed,
that
yeah.
a little bit.
Well, our roster, up and down the roster, we are gifted with very fast players.
Okay.
So if we're able to establish early our forecheck and we can get the pucks behind their defensemen, use our speed to force them to chase us a little bit more than they want to, it puts them out of their comfort zone and it'll
Okay.
generate more scoring opportunities for us. If we're able to capitalize on those scoring opportunities, I think that will give us an advantage. And then, like I had mentioned earlier, if we can get the lead and play with the lead, it's much better for us psychologically. The team we open up against in regionals is coming from Ohio, so hopefully they have a nice long traffic-filled journey to come, and we can catch them a little early when they're still
You don't
coming
think
off
they'll
their
be
bus
ready?
legs.
They're not ready for you guys.
I'm not saying they're not going to be ready. I'm just hoping they have traffic.
Traffic. Maybe they won't even make it to the game.
I don't
Just
want
too much
that.
traffic.
We don't want that.
Okay.
5 minutes would be fine.
Yeah, just 5-minute delay. All right. What else do you think would be an advantage for you guys?
If we can get guys back healthy, we're missing a couple of players. We were fortunate to go through most of the season without any illness or injury. And then within the last 2, maybe 3 weeks, we seem to be down 5 guys to various injuries and illnesses. So if we can get that back together before regionals comes along, I think we'll be in a lot better position than we are right now.
Okay. And how about the team as a whole? How are they in spirit? In
Good.
shape?
Yeah, we've been keeping it pretty light at practice the last couple of weeks. I know it's been a real big concern of mine about the fatigue factor. Last year definitely was something I've been thinking about. So we've been trying to keep it light and having a little bit more fun than, just some small friendly game competition stuff and a lot less structure. Just keep everybody in better spirits.
Okay. You have any special little ideas you can throw in there? Just kind of
I won't
good
smoke any
motivator?
cigars because I think it's bad luck, but that's about the only weird thing I got going in that regard.
Okay.
No, I think everybody's ready. I heard the boys mention earlier that Ryder is a big rivalry game for us. There's a lot of guys grew up in the area from the Jersey on both teams, so it doesn't really take much to get a good hate going. So I expect the game to be pretty good.
All right. I am so excited for you guys. All right. That's all we got for today from our coach. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Vina. We have ice hockey highlights, but first, let's see how the swimming and diving teams finished off the Metropolitan Championships over the weekend. Cody?
Thanks, Rachel. On day 2, the women's team claimed 6th place out of 16 teams at the meet. The 200 medley relay team of Miranda Coughlin, Polina Deneva, Glabby Gliger, and Olivia Wodowicz finished 4th with a time of 1 minute, 49.45 seconds, setting a new school record. Wodowicz had a 5th place finish in the 400 individual medley with a time of 4 minutes, 44.34 seconds. And the 800 freestyle relay team of Coughlin, Deneva, Julia Del Nero, and Julie Sheehan took 7th place with a time of 8 minutes, 5.96 seconds. The team ended with 407 total points. Coughlin earned her 5th NJAC Rookie of the Week honor and the Corvius Eastern Collegiate Athletic Conference Metro Rookie of the Week. Congratulations on a great season to the women's swimming and diving team.
After the second day of championship play, the Profs held on to first place at the Metropolitan. Taking second in the 100 butterfly was Nick Marks with a time of 48.81 seconds. In the 200 medley relay, the Profs finished third with a time of 1 minute, 32.98 seconds, beating the previous record of 1 minute, 32.07 seconds set back in December. The 800 freestyle relay team took second, coming in at 6 minutes, 50.01 seconds. Tyler Coe grabbed third in the 100 breaststroke, followed by Paul Long in 5th. Coming in third in the 400 individual medley was Connor Buck. Colin Fisher contributed in 5th as well. The Profs ended the day with 974 points, giving them a good lead on the 16 schools in the men's competition.
The men's swimming and diving team held the lead throughout the final day of the 3-day championship, winning on Sunday night. The Profs finished with a total of 1,426 points. Individual champion John Morris took first in the 3-meter dive with a total of 559.95 points. Jesse Novak had an individual win as well, taking the 100 freestyle with a time of 43.88 seconds. In their second year with the Profs, Brad Bowser was named the Men's Coach of the Year, and Jesse Lyman was the Men's Diving Coach of the Year. For 3 consecutive years, John Morris reclaimed his title of Male Diver of the Meet. The Profs took second in the 400 freestyle relay with a time of 3 minutes, 2.02 seconds. Nick Marks finished in second in the 200 butterfly with a time of 1 minute, 50.1 seconds. John Tepper set a school record of 16 minutes, 4.42 seconds in the 1650 freestyle. This week, the team enters the NCAA Division III Region 4 Diving Championships. Good job, boys, and the best of luck.
Now coming up after the break, Thomas DiNapoli sits down with Cody Decker to discuss the MAC tournament.
I'll be going over there.
So don't go away.
Welcome back to All Access. I'm Tom DiNapoli. Joining me this week for the Rowan Roundtable is Rowan sports anchor and All Access anchor. You know him, you love him, Cody Decker. Cody, thanks for joining me today.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
So, that aside, we just had the MAC playoffs come and go this past weekend. Before we get to spoiler alerts with who won, let's just, talk about it. Rowan had the first game, and they faced Ryder, losing 2-1. What did you see from Rowan in that game?
Ryder outshot Rowan. Ryder outplayed Rowan, in my opinion. Their depth it was too much for Rowan. They really couldn't take it. And when you're coming down the stretch during the postseason, depth is the key. The teams that have the most depth, the team that gets the most out of each line, that's who's going to win games. And Rowan just didn't have it. Alex Polis was a big factor in missing that. It was very key for him to be in the lineup, and that's how Rowan usually goes off of him. But the problem is that Rowan really hasn't had the time to fix chemistry issues without Polis being in the roster and being in the lineup, that they just couldn't really do it. Ryder had a lot of great skaters for forwards and defensemen. Martino was a guy who I think did really, really well. I think he was really the MAC MVP away from stats. The defenseman for the Ryder Bronx, Christopher Johnson, had a good tournament as well. So Ryder just capitalized when they had to, used their depth to their advantage, and Rowan was caught off guard.
Well, Johnson had a hat trick, but a little more on that later. Next game was Liberty. They kind of overmatched UMBC, winning 6-1 there. And then University of Delaware in the game after that, in a hard-fought game, beat Virginia Tech 5-4.
Yeah, the South was really not wide open. We figured Liberty would be in the finals, Tom. I think we can both agree on that. And, Liberty is number 1 in the Southeast, playing extremely well. And UMBC was just overmatched. I think UMBC is a quality team in the MAC South, but the problem is there's just too many good teams there. Delaware can play well at any moment. Liberty is a top-notch regional team. So, UMBC's got great players, great talent. They're just outmatched in the South. And as far as Virginia Tech, it's tough because they're a good team as well. But again, that division is very, very stacked. UDEL plays well in the postseason. Liberty is a factor nonetheless. Virginia Tech played Rowan hard when Rowan had their senior night. They were able to get the 2-1 victory for the Profs, but Virginia Tech's a quality team, and luckily they'll have the playing around for regionals this coming weekend to try and get back and try and make some eyes turn pretty much.
As Virginia Tech going to the regional tournament, UMBC out with the loss. Last game we had Penn State Army. Penn State really overmatched Army, but it was really cool to see after the game the Army guys going to shake the hands of each and every individual in Nittany Lion.
Very respectful team in Army, and I am quite glad that they are in the MAC this season. Just how they carry themselves, the respect, and the heart that they really play with. It's just been phenomenal to see. From a competitive standpoint, it's going to take time. When Rutgers went to the Big Ten, really every sport has had to change their system. They have to adapt to the new conference, and Army's going to have to do the same over the next couple of years. I think they have a lot of quality players on that Army team. But when you talk about the success Penn State has had, when you talk about the team that they have a lot of seniors. They're very experienced, and that just was too much for Army to handle in the postseason. Their first time in the MAC tournament. I'm glad they were able to get there because, again, they're a face that we'd like to see around the MAC a lot more and make a big impact. I'm glad they were actually able to beat out Wagner for that spot because I think they really did deserve it. They played well against Rowan twice during the regular season.
Day 2 was full of more upsets. You saw Delaware beat the number 1 seed in the Southeast of Liberty, and you also had Ryder for the second year in a row beating Penn State.
It's incredible. It was the biggest headline last season. Ryder beating Penn State. I'll start there first. And again, Ryder's just clicking at the right time. Christopher Johnson, like you said, had the hat trick in that game against Penn State. And really, I don't think Penn State was ready for Ryder. I think, you can compare regular season matchups so much, but when you go to the postseason, you're playing for a divisional final, teams can just click. And Ryder is the one team that clicked. I'm just going to emphasize it again here. I hate to be repetitive, but that defensive unit and that forward unit on that first line totally, I think, just dominated a lot of the defenses this weekend. And, Martino, Johnson, they clicked. Santagata was great for the Bronx as well. And really, it came down to who was going to get that last goal. It was a very tight game. It was 3-3, and then Ryder pulls out the game winner with about 6 minutes left. So Ryder just plays very, very well. It's a shame that they're not in the regionals because I really would like to see that talented team get that opportunity. But, Penn State, they've got the regionals to worry about as well. Quality team, they might be able to make a statement this coming weekend.
Now, when you get into a championship game and you're a high seed, you do two things. You go with your best player, and you ride in your goaltender, and that's exactly what University of Delaware did. Nathan Marks, 2 goals in the championship game, and they rode Jake Wolf. Wasn't the starting goaltender. Remember, Lewis Brotman for University of Delaware out with injury. Jake Wolf had to step up, and that he did.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was a mirror image of Lewis Brotman at the MAC tournament last season. It was incredible to see Jake Wolf, who had to come in middle of the season, be the all-day starter, be the everyday starter, having to get between the pipes both games, and be playing these games against some tough opponents. And he stood tall. He's another person who I think could have really won the MVP of that tournament. Now, Nathan Marks is just a freak of nature when it comes to the MAC. A quality player. We see it all the time. I love to see his talent. He's a speedy skater. He's crafty. He can make a goalie just fall out of his stance and totally embarrass him if he really, really wants to. He's just that good. So, he didn't lead the points scoring in the MAC this season during the regular season. He ended up third behind 2 Liberty players, but Nathan Marks is the top player in the MAC, and I'm going to be very interested to see this coming tournament how big for Delaware their depth is going to be, because remember last season, UDel won the MAC championship, fell in the first game to Rowan in the last regional tournament. So we'll see how it plays out, but Delaware's depth could be their advantage and could get them possibly to shock everyone and get to nationals.
Only the best analysis from Cody Decker, and that is all the time we have this week for Rowan Roundtable. Coming up after the break, Cody and Rachel close out the show with more ice hockey coverage.
Welcome back. Time to recap some more ice hockey highlights. Take it away, Rachel.
Thanks. On Friday, February 19th, the Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Hockey Playoff Tournament began. To kick things off, Rowan took on Ryder at 12:30. Rowan owned the season series 2-0, and they were looking to extend their winning streak into the postseason. Robert Wilworth put Rowan on the board first, but Matthew Fox in the Bronx answered with an equalizer. It was Nicholas Lelam who put Ryder up 2-1, and that would be the final. Ryder advanced, and Rowan went home. In Game 2 of the day, number 1 ranked in the Southeast, Liberty Flames took on UMBC Retrievers. In a game where Liberty was expected to take care of business, they did just that with a 6-1 victory. Not only was UMBC out of the MAC tournament, but they did not qualify for regionals as well. Game 3 on the day consisted of University of Delaware taking on Virginia Tech. In a back-and-forth game full of offense, it was the Blue Hens who came out with a 5-4 win, advancing to the next round. The final game was between Penn State Nittany Lions and the Army Black Knights. Army had been surging, but Penn State was just too much to handle. Penn State came out with a 5-1 victory, advancing to Day 2.
Liberty and Delaware kicked off action on Saturday in the divisional final round. In a game where Delaware was not expected to win, they did just that. Delaware rode Jake Wolf as he had the game of his career. The final score was 6-4. All of Liberty's goals came in the third period, and 3 of them came after they pulled their goalie. Delaware advanced to the MAC championship. Game 2 consisted of Ryder taking on Penn State. Ryder repeated what they had done last year and knocked off the Nittany Lions. State was full of upsets, and the championship game was set in stone, the Ryder Bronx against the Delaware Blue Hens.
The much-anticipated championship game took place on Sunday at 4 p.m. University of Delaware was led by MAC MVP Nathan Marks, who had 2 out of his team's 4 goals on the day. The other goal scorer was Brian Riley, who also had 2. For Ryder, the lone goal scorer was Patrick Grilly. University of Delaware repeated as MAC champs and looked to keep the momentum going in the regional tournament. Congrats to the University of Delaware. Now, Cody, this was the first time that RTN's ever covered the MAC tournament. How cool was it to follow the boys all weekend and do something like this?
Well, first I want to say we could not dodge, duck, dip, dive, or dodge this opportunity. It was an excellent opportunity for us. You know, we don't get to see teams very often in the MAC. They play Rowan at most 2 times a year.
Yeah.
And just to see all that talent that's actually in our hockey league that Rowan plays in, it was outstanding. And the tournament's always fun. Having covered it now for 2 years with Thomas DiNapoli, it's been absolutely fantastic.
And what kind of coverage did that give RTN?
Yeah, our viewership was incredible. We had a ton of viewers as far as fans from other teams. We
Same.
also had regional coordinators actually checking into us and saying,
how far
hey,
did
we're
that
watching.
stretch? Like states and.
I mean, Liberty's up like in Virginia. It really goes down up the East Coast. So New Jersey, Virginia, Pennsylvania. So it was very fun to cover. We hope we have that opportunity again in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was great. That is all the time we have for you this week, unfortunately. On behalf of Rachel Williamson, Lenny Schnee, Thomas DiNapoli, Vina Marie Pizzo, and the entire All Access team, I'm Cody Decker. We'll see you next week.